For decades, humanity has been fascinated by mysteries. But in the modern world, where satellites orbit the skies and every moment seems to be tracked, how could something as massive as a commercial airliner vanish without a trace? And yet, on March 8, 2014, the impossible happened. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 disappeared. A plane with 239 souls on board simply vanished into the night. Before we start this case, if you're interested in hijacking and playing the story, see this video. So let's start this case. It was just past midnight at Kuala Lumpur International Airport. Passengers were boarding their overnight flight to Beijing. Some were couples traveling for leisure, some were students, and some were technology specialists heading to China. Each had their own story, unaware of the dark fate awaiting them. The aircraft, a Boeing 777-200 Air, one of the safest and most advanced planes of its era. In the cockpit, Captain Zahir Ahmed Shah, an experienced pilot with over 18,000 flight hours. Beside him, First Officer Farid Abdul Hamid, a young co-pilot on one of his first solo flights. At 12:41 a.m., flight MH370 lifted off into the night sky. Everything was normal. About an hour later, as the plane crossed into Vietnamese airspace, the final transmission was heard over radio. Good night, Malaysia 370. That's a calm voice and nothing unusual. But after those words, silence. Communication systems shut down, one by one. Civilian radars lost the plane. It was as if MH370 had simply vanished from the world's screen. At first, it was treated as a technical glitch, but as hours passed and Beijing reported the plane never arrived, panic began. One of the largest search operations in aviation history was launched. 26 nations joined the hunt. Ships, aircraft, satellites, even submarines scanned the skies and sea. But there was nothing. No wreckage, no signals, not even a single floating seat cushion. MH370 had disappeared. Days later, a shocking discovery surfaced. Military radar data suggested the plane didn't just vanish. It had turned west after communications stopped. Even stranger, satellite handshakes from Inmarsat showed the aircraft continued flying for 7 more hours deep into the Indian Ocean. The mystery grew darker. If the plane kept flying, why? Who was it controlled? Months passed. Families waited. The world demanded answers. Then small fragments began washing ashore. A piece of a wing on Reunion Island. Other debris lined the coast of Madagascar and Mozambique. But these discoveries only deepened the mystery. Why were the fragments thousands of kilometers away from the plane's original path? Theories began to surreal. Mechanical failure or fire. Some suggested an onboard fire disabled system. But how could a fire explain the plane flying for hours silently, of course. The captain's dark plan. Reports suggested Captain Zahari had personal struggles. Investigators even found a flight path on his home simulator eerily similar to MH370's final suspect route. Was this a deliberate act of mass suicide, hijacking, or military involvement? Others pointed fingers at powerful nations. Some claimed the plane may have been forced to land at Diego Garcia, a secretive US military base in the Indian Ocean. And the last one, supernatural or otherworldly theories. From wormholes to parallel universes. People imagine that MH370 had simply crossed into another reality. Outlandish, yes, but for many, easier to believe than a plane just vanishing. Leaving aside all of this, I think the hardest part of these disappearances is forgiveness for the surviving families. For the families, the pain was unbearable. No bodies, no closure, no truth. Imagine waiting years, unsure whether your loved one is dead or alive, lost in the ocean or hidden somewhere unknown. Governments of Malaysia, Australia, and China invested billions into the search. Underwater drones combed the depth of the Indian Ocean. In 2018, the official report was released. Its conclusion shocked the world. We don't know what happened. Billions spent, years of searching, yet the truth remained hidden. Flight MH370 is one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of modern times. It reminded us that even in the age of the satellites and high technology, the world can still swallow secrets whole. Perhaps one day the truth will surface, but until then, MH370 will remain a haunting question mark in aviation history.